And there we go. Hey, Lucas, I wanted to give you a call and talk to you about your deer you just got. Two early season successes this year, huh?
Yeah, man. Seems to be on a roll.
Yeah, that's is that usual for you getting two this early before November?
To be honest with you, the past few years, I feel like it is. Um, Try to get all my ducks in a row, ahead of time, and I've got to the point now to where I took, a few years there where I just pretty well didn't shoot anything and tried to get the deer, to grow and tried to get them time to reach maturity. And it's finally like, I mean, it was a good 3 years, I'd say, that I've done that, but it's finally like paying off. And I've kind of got into the routine almost like where I've got like, for instance, this year I'm set up for next year because of the 3-year-olds I got this year. As long as they make it now, not all of them will, but there'll be a couple of them that do.
Okay. So
And
that was just like a conscious decision you made. You said, "Hey, I have this couple of farms or whatever, and I'm just gonna let them go and let them grow for a while."
yeah, man, once I really, told myself that I was gonna to get serious about bow hunting and get serious about trying to kill bigger deer. I mean, that was because I mean there for a while. I was like a lot of guys, I'd go out there and I wouldn't say, that I just go out there and shoot anything. Don't get me wrong. I tried to make it at least decent, but I let I didn't have my mindset right on age trump score, and feel like if you can ever get to that point and hold yourself a little accountable, more about it, you'll really start having a lot more success that way.
Yeah. Well, that's great too because that's nice that you have some properties that you're able to kind of manage like that. Um, so,
Right.
so you have history with this deer that you just shot for years now. Then,
Well, I've got 2 years history with it with this particular deer. Um, I didn't know, so I've got some farm down where I was raised, and I've hunted it a long time. Um, Ever since I was a kid, I've been hunting it, and it's it's got a lot of agriculture around, but there really has never been like big deer in that area. There's a lot of 100-inch deer, mass. There's like you never hardly kill a deer down there that's got mass.
right?
And the farmer that where I killed the deer at, the farmer about 5 years ago, he had his timber select cut, and it's made all the difference in the world, I think, just by him doing that it's sticking them woods up enough to where those deer can get in there, and I mean, nobody can see them from the road, so that takes away a big part of it because it's in a place where if you got road hunters, they could kill them from the road easy at this particular spot. But ever since them woods got thickened up, it's allowed some of the deer to get a lot older.
Right. And
And
and so that just creates a lot of bedding and it's like a natural food plot in there for them too now, right? You said that was about 5 years ago.
yep,
Yeah.
and it's got a lot of good mature white oaks in it. They cut several of them, but they left a bunch too. I don't even know what all they cut out of there, but it seems to me they left a lot more acorn trees than most loggers do. I don't know if that's what they wanted or what, but there's a ditch, like a ditch that runs all the way down it, and as long as it's not dry out, there's normally water in it. So
Right.
They've got, food, shelter, and water all right here in this place.
And how many acres is it?
I mapped it out a while ago before I called you or whatever, and I mapped it out to where this deer, his range was about 161 acres.
Okay.
And there's 3 different little blocks of timber, though, in that 161 acres, and it makes that place harder to hunt early season because they could be in any one of those blocks of timber, within 5 minutes if they wanted to be.
Right. Yeah.
And just from hunting it so long over the years, I kind of learned how the deer like to use it. And I just went down there last year and threw a camera up just because I hadn't ran one down there in a long time. And I got a bachelor group last year and had the one I killed was in there.
Was
Him
he
and 3 more bucks?
Was he as unique looking last year as he is this year?
He was the same. He had the same amount of points didn't change a lick on point wise, but it was like a grenade went off on his head.
Yeah.
He probably put on, I'll show you the picture or whatever, and you can tell me, but I swear, man, I think he put on 30 inches in 1 year.
Wow. Yeah, because he's a big deer. People can't see the picture, but he's a big deer. I don't know what he would score, but he's very unique. Like his points are very long and they're kind of in a weird pattern.
Yeah, that one time on that weird side was 15 inches.
Yeah, it's like a dagger.
I scored him out, and it was kind of tough scoring him because the way you have to score that weird side.
Mm-hmm.
But I scored him out at 118 and 4/8.
Mm-hmm.
And, he had on the good side, he had almost 5-inch bases on him.
Right. Yeah.
He was real palmated out on that beam on that one side, but I had a nickname for the deer. I called him Big Al.
Big Al. Yeah.
And there was a story behind that, but the neighbor, my dad used to have a neighbor that lived beside him, and that was his nickname.
Oh,
and
yeah.
He used to own this little 40-acre farm that was right beside where I hunted, and he let me hunt and everything. Well, he died a couple years ago, and when I first seen that deer, I seen him back there on that 40 acres, so I was like, I'm gonna name him Big Al. No, be cool.
So let's. So tell me the story here about hunting this deer, because that was your number one target deer this year. That's what you told me, right?
It was.
So you were going into the season looking for this deer.
Yeah, and if we take it back to around July,
okay,
I'd been down at my dad's, and it was late one evening, and I went outside there behind the house and just always look, see if there's any deer standing back there. There's like a swamp beside his house, and I looked out there, and there was all 4 of those bucks were standing out there, and they were just coming out of the swamp, and the farmer had planted he had weed in the field, so he hadn't cut the wheat yet, but across the road there was fresh beans planted, and they were probably 6-8 inches high. So those deer come out of the swamp, and me and my brother just stood out there and watched them, and they went straight across the road to the beans. And that was when I first seen him, and he already had a big enough set of horns that I could tell, that he was going to be cool.
Something special.
And big enough to shoot.
Yeah.
So I told my brother, I said, well, I think I'm going to try to get a plan together to kill that one this year. And I watched him July. I watched him 2 or 3 times do that same thing. And finally, they cut the wheat and they double cropped it and planted soybeans in it.
Okay.
So as soon as those beans started coming up, like I knew I had the perfect setup to kill that deer, because where he was bedding at and then going across the road, he wasn't going to have to do it anymore because the beans was going to be 50 yards from where he's bedding.
Mm-hmm.
So once they started coming up, I mean, sure enough, I would go down there and watch him, and he would come right out into the beans and start feeding. And there was a fence row to be on the let's see, let me get this right. There's a fence row on the north side of this property, and he would come out of the swamp or whatever, and he would go east. But every time he would get right on that fence row and walk right down it. And there's trees all in that fence row. So I went back there, put up a Tacticam, threw out a bag of Big and J. It's about July,
Mm-hmm.
and I started getting pictures of him. And him and one of the other bucks was actually both. I would have shot either one of them, but I really wanted him just because of the unique rack he had. So fast forward to the velvet hunt, I had this deer pegged, man. I mean, all I needed was a south wind, and I was like, man, it's bulletproof. He's coming out. He's gonna walk right by me in this fence row, and I'm gonna shoot and kill him. And about a week before the velvet hunt, I don't know what happened. I went down there and watched him, I mean, numerous times. He done the same thing every time. And once I went in there and hung my sticks in the tree, it was about a week before the hunt. He totally changed his pattern.
Really?
I mean, just straight up changed his pattern. And I don't know if he seen me that day when I come in there to hang my sticks. I mean, I tried to make sure that he couldn't, but I really feel like he did, because he flopped from bedding in the swamp. He started bedding on the other side of the field, and there was another farm that joined it on the other side that I got permission to walk in from. And by me doing that, like I in my mind, I was like, there's no way this deer is going to see me come in. There's no way he can smell me with the south wind.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, I'm going to kill him. And it's almost like whenever you think you got it all figured out, it never happens that way.
It never does. It never does for me anyway.
So I killed, the 8-point on Saturday of the velvet hunt.
Right, and that was a different farm.
Yeah, it was a total different farm where I killed the 8-point.
Okay.
And then Sunday of the velvet hunt down here was the best conditions we had the whole weekend. So I done made the decision that I was going to try to hunt that deer on Sunday when I had the right wind for one thing, and it was just going to be 15 degrees cooler. And, I was like, between those two things, I was like, he's going to come right out here and I'm going to kill him. And get over there, and as soon as we got in the stand, I waited till about, 4:30, 5 o'clock before we even got in the tree. We were in saddles.
Mm-hmm.
And I had my buddy there videoing me on this hunt. We had one of the little smaller bucks come out early, and he come across, and it was like instantly, man, the wind switched and was blowing straight north.
Mm.
That, probably within an hour of us being there in the tree, the wind was started to switch out of the north. And that 6 point, he got out there about 70 yards from. He come out of the swamp, and he smelled us. He took off running. He ran back into the swamp. Now, the deer, he wasn't bedded in the swamp. He was bedded to my east. And I was like, well, I told Ethan, I was like, it don't matter. I was like, he ain't over there anyway. And man, we sat there till dark and did not see another deer. So, all that being said, when that deer changed his pattern, what he done was he went around to the east and started bedding in this ditch, and he was watching me walk in.
Oh, really?
I'm 100% confident that he was watching me walk in, and he knew that I was there, and I just feel like that's what happened. So I never got that deer on camera right there again. Period.
Ever?
He never come back.
So how did you relocate him then?
I relocated him. I took my camera down and I moved it across the road to where I got him last year when he was hardhorn.
Mm-hmm. And what was the time frame between the last picture you got of him and before you moved the camera, and then when you moved the camera and got him again?
So the last picture, I could get in my phone and look real quick. The last picture I got of him was about 3 or 4 days before the velvet hunt.
Okay.
So that the week prior to the velvet hunt, last picture I got of him, and it was always like after dark. He quit daylighting about a week before the hunt.
Mm-hmm.
And by that point, I'm pretty sure he was already on to me. But yeah. So I relocated the camera after the velvet hunt, and I had it out for about 2 weeks before I got a picture of him. I think on September the 9th is when I got the first picture of him hardhorn.
Okay.
And same place that I had him on camera last year, hardhorn. So once I got him on camera, I was pretty confident that that's his fall range and that's where he's going to set up shop until the rut. So I left the camera. Now I'm hunting in a bean field again, but they're already pretty well dry. Almost ready to be cut.
Okay. So they've turned colors already. They're yellow.
Yeah, these are already brown.
Oh, okay.
They're to the point where deer eat them again. Mm-hmm. I think, because haven't you always heard like once they turn yellow, they don't want to eat them, but once they turn brown or when they die, basically.
Yeah, that's what I've heard. I've heard them. They like them when they're green, and then when they start to turn colors, they'll go find something else to eat. And then, like, if you have standing beans, they'll come back to them at the end of the year.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And where I'd put my camera at, though, there's 2 huge white oak trees on this other fence row, and that's where they would. Every deer that comes out of this block of timber, that's where they go every single time.
Okay.
So,
and it's dropping already.
It was yeah.
Okay.
There's so many acorns this year. I know you had to see some last weekend.
Yeah, I did. That's what I've been looking for. I saw a lot more last year than this year, but that's up in Kentucky mainly.
Yeah.
But it seems like there are quite a bit that are dropping already.
But these 2 white oaks, I don't even know how old they are, but they're pretty good sized trees. One of them's got about three big trunks that come up, and mm-hmm. that's the tree I was in. But I got him on camera right there at them white oaks 2 different times, and I got him. What day did I shoot that deer? Tuesday, I think it was. Tuesday evening. I got off work a little bit early and came home.
So you got him on the 9th.
I got him on the 9th.
And then what was he pretty much in a pattern from then where you had him pretty consistently on camera after the 9th until opening day was the 26th, right? Is that right? 25th, 26th?
Yeah, 20, was it 23rd?
Oh, 23rd, you're right, yeah. Saturday 23rd.
I got him the Thursday before opening day. I got him on camera one time.
Okay.
I got him on the 9th, and that was it.
Okay. So so you were targeting this deer for opening day, and then, so what was your plan? Were you going to hang and hunt, or did you have a stand? Because you said you had already put a stand up in there, right?
Well, I had put sticks up for him on the velvet hunt.
Oh, okay.
Once I got pictures of him across the road, from where I was getting him, I put a set of sticks. I moved my sticks and put them in that white oak tree.
Oh,
when
okay.
I hung my camera.
Okay.
Well, I put the sticks up after I got him on camera the second time, once I got him on camera across the road. And I told myself that I was not going in there to hunt that deer until I got a daylight picture of him.
Okay.
So I got a daylight picture of him on the 20, whatever, the Thursday before opening day of bow season. I got a picture of him. And I did not get another picture of him in the daylight until Tuesday about 3:30. So the day that I killed him is the day I got a picture of him, and that's when I went in there. And,
oh, really? Okay.
And I don't know if other people try to do the same thing, but that right there in itself I've gained a lot of success by just doing that, because you hear it all the time, like all the serious hunters and stuff, like on TV, they tell you, don't go in there if he ain't daylighting.
Yeah, right.
And I mean, if you wanna kill one, I mean, you better not go in there before they're daylighting, because you're more than likely gonna blow them out.
Yeah,
or you just ain't gonna see them,
Yeah, because he changed his pattern. You think just from, before the velvet hunt, he changed his pattern just by watching you go in there and put feed out and cameras and hang your sticks and stuff. It seems like, right? That's what you're thinking?
That's what I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So when you moved over,
when I would watch him. When I would watch him come out, I was, I had cover there at my dad's house. He never knew I was there.
Right. Yep.
And I couldn't come in on him from that way anyway. So, I still thought I could pull it off by totally coming in on the opposite side where I knew he couldn't see me, but I really feel like he did.
Okay. So the day that you went and hunted this deer, you had a picture of him about 3 o'clock in the afternoon or something. So he came out and fed in the bean field that early in the middle of the day?
No, he did. He wasn't feeding. When I got a picture of him, he was just walking by.
Oh, okay.
He was just walking by on that fence row, that's the way they travel it.
Oh, okay.
When they come out, because there's a block of timber that they logged, and that's where he was bedding at. But there's also another little block of timber with some standing corn that's about 250 yards on the other side of the field.
Okay.
So what I think happened, I think he was in the standing corn over there bedded.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a pond over here where they logged that out that kind of runs in with that ditch that I told you that held water.
Right.
And I think he was coming from the standing corn and going to the pond.
Okay.
When I got a picture of him Tuesday.
See, that's interesting. That's
But
an
all I
interesting
know,
strategy too, because I would have thought like if it would have been me, if I would have got that picture at like 3 o'clock in the afternoon or something, I would have thought I missed him for the day and that my opportunity was done. But you saw that picture and that was a green light for you to go get in there, right? In the same spot
man,
that he was at.
I got a shower so fast and got down there. I mean, as quick as I could, I got down there. I was in the tree by 4:15,
Okay.
and I got a picture of him at 3:30.
Awesome.
And and like this deer has been so smart, this whole time. But the way the wind was blowing that day, he walked into the woods with the wind at his back, and I knew when he was coming back out, I was going to be. There's no way he could smell me.
Okay. So when you were going in there, were you like on pins and needles, thinking that he was going to see you because he's got to be right around that area right there?
And I was like, you could have heard my heart beating. You could have heard my heart beating. I guarantee you, my blood pressure was through the roof. And I'm like anxiety sweating, because I'm trying to take my time.
Mm-hmm.
I had a bulletproof setup on getting in on him from the way I did, but it's still, almost 90 degrees.
Yeah, it's 90 degrees, and you're just gonna step on leaves, and I mean, you're gonna make some noise getting in there, and it's just.
And all I had to come through was like an old cow pasture that was growed up in hay.
Mm-hmm.
And I just kind of took my time getting across it. And then once I got 40 yards or so from my tree, I started, hitting leaves and stuff. And I just tried to take it easy getting up in there. And I had to saw one little limb out of the way because I hadn't prepped the tree at all as far as that. I just hung the sticks.
You know what? I swear I've noticed that like big bucks react to sound of like metal on metal and stuff, and like human sounds scare them. But I have sawed limbs out of trees, and I've had bucks come by like within an amount of time that they could have definitely heard me. And I don't think that those two things registered to them because, I mean, branches and stuff are always falling out of trees and squirrels are making noise in trees and stuff. And it must just equate to them that that's just something in the trees doing something,
Yeah. Yeah, it was nerve wracking though, for sure.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I had the feeling that I was going to kill him that day. Everything had just aligned itself, and I knew if I could get in the tree without hearing a deer blow, because he couldn't have been bedded. He was within 150 yards for sure.
What do you think he was bedded in? Like what kind of environment was his bedding, you think?
Man, it's just the old thick select cut
over
woods, and it's pretty shady right there.
He's just out in the middle of the thick stuff out there, you think?
Well, he was going. If he would have been going to that pond, he would have been within 150 yards. But I haven't walked up in them woods. That's another thing I try not to do if I'm hunting a big deer.
Mm-hmm.
Like I don't even want to step foot in the woods where I think they're bedding at.
Yeah, just let him have his own safe haven in there, somewhere he feels safe. Anyway.
I hadn't been in there at all, and really didn't even get to go in there very much until I was tracking him the other night. But
yeah,
I mean, it's a growed up mess in there. I don't know how they even get in through there. But.
Yeah, well, that's what I always hear is the best places to hunt are like the ugliest and look like a bomb went off, for whitetail anyway.
So I got settled in. Everything went good. Didn't blow nothing out.
In your saddle, right? You're in your saddle?
In my saddle, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And I got on the back side of the tree to where I was, hiding behind the tree from where I knew where I thought he was going to come out of. And about 4:45, I guess it was, something like that. The first buck, I heard a commotion in there. I couldn't see, but I heard a commotion going on, and I looked down there. And this part of the field where I'm at, it's pretty much in the shade, already by this point.
Mm-hmm.
And I look over there and I see a deer coming out, and it tilts its head back, starts licking a licking branch, and it was one of the bucks that's always with them. And he steps on out into the field and just walking right to me, right to them white oaks.
Mm-hmm.
And I kept looking, and there come the one I shot right behind him. And then the last buck out was the other shooter that come out behind him.
So from
they kind of stepped.
So from where they come out at to where you're set up, what's the distance on that?
100 yards.
Okay, so you can watch them 100 yards. So I think that adds to the stress and anxiety too when you can watch them for a long time.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like I say, you could hear my heart beating for sure now, especially once I finally seen him for the first time.
Yeah.
And I'm like halfway trying to stand up, on my platform, and halfway trying to get my bow in my hand.
Mm-hmm.
And I have to flip my release. I got one of them that flip back toward your arm where it's out of the way.
Okay.
And every time that I've got caught in this situation, I don't know what kind of release you shoot, but I've always got my dang bow in my hand too soon. So I have to take my arm down to my leg and try to flip that thing. And it's, once it goes, if you're not holding on to it, it'll make, like a popping sound.
Okay.
So I'm trying to get my dang release flipped open, and I get it all open, get stood up, and get my bow ready or whatever. And they're just walking right down the fence, right to me. And at first, I thought I was gonna have a straight down shot on him,
mm-hmm.
and I was nervous about doing it. But the first buck got up there, and he starts trying to sniff for acorns or whatever.
So what distance is he at this time? And also, just for my knowledge, what is in relation to the bucks, what's the wind situation right now?
So the wind is hitting me right in the face.
Okay, so it's perfect.
It's perfect.
Okay.
The only thing that would have got me in trouble is if that first buck would have got by me. If he would have, the one I killed, if he would have stopped for whatever reason and let that other buck keep coming, and if he got by me,
mm-hmm.
I was about to get smelled.
Gotcha. Okay.
So that I was worried about that for sure, because they weren't messing with them beans at all. They were coming straight to the acorns, and then they would have kept on going right over there to that standing corn, I think. And I've been getting a lot of does in there too, but they were the first deer out. No does, no nothing. The bucks come out first this time, and anyway, the younger 8-point gets over there, and the deer I shot kind of, it's almost like he postured up to him, and he was trying to push him out of the way is what it was.
Mm-hmm.
As soon as he done that, though, he turned his body enough for me to get a shot. So I just drawed my bow back quick as I could, and while they were kind of tussling,
Right.
And he cleared this little clump of leaves that was hanging in a limb and I just put it right there on him and let it go.
Mm-hmm.
And he took off running, and I could see where I hit him perfect.
And he was a little quartering 2 when you took the shot, right?
He was.
Okay.
He was just a little quartering 2, but he was as broadside as he was going to get before he got by me. If that makes sense.
Yeah, and you're shooting a big mechanical, right? That's what you said.
Yeah, I'm shooting a G5 dead meat.
Is that a 2-inch cut?
Let me see. I think I got a pack of them in here. It's not as big as the mega meats.
Okay. So maybe like a 1.5,
dead meats
1.75 or something like that.
1.5.
Okay, 1.5. Yeah, because those mechanicals are great. As long as you don't hit the shoulder and you get it by there, it would cause so much damage going through, like even on a quartering 2 shot like that, with all the things that it's going to hit.
Yeah, are you familiar with those dead meats, how they work?
I'm not. No, I'm trying out. I was doing iron wills. I was doing fixed blades primarily before, and then this year I'm trying out the severs, which is my first mechanical. So I'm not overly familiar with all the different mechanical ones.
I like the design of these because they got like a chisel tip, on them.
Mm-hmm.
But the way they deploy, when it goes into the deer and starts hitting the skin, just by the force of going into the deer is what pushes the blades down and out. So
okay, so they deploy from like the front
back.
They deploy from like the front back. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay, I have seen those. Those look pretty cool.
So I shot NAP Spitfires forever. That was my favorite broadhead for the longest. But those have to fold backwards when they open, so they really kill your penetration if you got a short draw length like me.
Mm-hmm.
But these here, once it starts entering into the deer, that they, the motion of the arrow is what opens, and I've just had real good luck with them.
I might have to try those out. But let me not sidetrack you here. So you pull the trigger, you shoot the deer. He's a little bit quartering 2, and then does he mule kick, or do you see him run, or what happens after that? I guess
he just takes off like a rocket out there, and he stops at about 60 yards and starts doing the old tail flicker. And he's just standing there, and I'm like, man, he's gonna go down right there. And he's like looking down at the ground, and he's kind of bowed up, but he wasn't like bowed up enough to where it looked like a straight up gut shot or nothing. I mean, it looked like he was fixing to die.
Okay.
And he stands there and just beds down immediately.
Okay.
He probably stood there for about a minute before he bedded down, and I get my binoculars up and I'm watching him, and he's like, he's starting to drop his head, and then he'll try to pick it up and he'll drop it back down. And the whole time, the other 2 bucks that was with him, they don't know what the heck's going on, so they're like just standing there staring at him.
Right.
So after about 2 or 3 minutes, that younger deer starts walking over to him. And then the old one starts walking over to him. And they get right up on this sucker, and he stood up. He stands back up.
So as you're watching this, at 60 yards at any point, did you think about trying to lob one in there for a second follow-up shot?
As soon as he stood up, I started reaching for another arrow.
Okay.
Because I've done been down that road before.
Yeah.
And man, it's just a terrible feeling. Like my guts dropped as soon as he stood up.
Does he got up and he's not dead?
Yeah, and like from his body language, I mean, he looked like a dead deer that I've ever, I've seen how they act when you shoot them. And so I get another arrow and I range him. He's like 65 yards. And I draw back, shot, and I missed, shot right over him. And he just stands there. Didn't even move. The other two bucks kind of, trotted away or whatever. And now they're looking at me because they can see me up there trying to get another arrow. So I get arrow number 2, and I re-ranged him. I tried to, make sure my sight was where it was or whatever. So I shot again and shot over him again.
Oh, really?
And I was like, gosh, dang it, man. Like, what the heck's going on? And I remembered I changed my sight about 3 weeks ago, and I put a different sight on there. And I've got my 20, 30, and 40 like dialed in perfect. But once I get to 50 and 60, I'm shooting high for some reason. Obviously my sight tape ain't right.
Are you using a slider or a 5-pin, or what kind of sight is it?
Yeah, I'm using a slider, a double pin slider.
Okay.
And it's it's one of them Axel landslides. I mean, it's a real good sight. Okay.
Yeah, that's what I use it, but I use it with a 5-pin, and then the 5th pin is the slider.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I remembered that my sight tape was off or whatever. So
do you have any more arrows left?
Down. I had 2 arrows left.
Okay, so you brought a whole grip of arrows out there, huh?
I had, my quiver holds 5.
Okay, so you brought 5.
So I burnt one, when I shot him, then I missed him twice, so I was down to 2 arrows. So I finally remembered about my sight tape and everything, so I lowered it down, cheated about 5 yards there, and I re-ranged, double check, because he's just standing there. He ain't doing nothing. And I draw back and I shot again and I hit him. I thought I missed him, but I wound up hitting him on the last time.
Okay.
Just low in the leg. And he runs over about 40 yards and stops again. And he just starts like falling backwards, like he's going down.
Oh, really? Okay.
And he caught himself, and then he just bedded down right there, And by this point, the other 2 bucks, they done run off, and they're gone or whatever. So I didn't have to worry about that again. And of course, I'm texting everybody, telling them I've killed him and all of this. And
yeah, because
he ain't moving.
Yeah, because at this point, you think you got a dead deer right there, right?
Yeah, I mean, and I mean, I watched him for 30 minutes laying there motionless. I mean, I couldn't see him, but I knew where he went down at, and there was no movement whatsoever. Well, I look out there in the field, and here come those 2 bucks again. And they're walking around through there, and I guess they get over there to where they can see him or smell him or something, and one of them started blowing. And then they would go over and try to walk closer to him or whatever. They done it about 3 times, and he never once moved or got up again. So in my mind, he's laying there dead.
Right.
So right at dark, I decided to go ahead and get down, and I was going to go over and look at him. And I climbed down, and I had 1 arrow left. So I went ahead and knocked it up. And I started trying to get over there to him and trying to walk through standing beans that are dried. I mean, you sound like a gorilla.
Yeah.
So there wasn't no being quiet trying to get over there. But I got about 40 yards from him, and he gets up and takes off.
Oh, wow.
And he just kind of got his head down, and he's just pushing himself through the beans. He wasn't jumping or nothing. He just kind of pushing himself, trying to get to the woods away from me. So I immediately just stopped and backed out. And then I got home, ate me a little supper, tried to calm down.
Yeah.
And then that's when I started trying to get everybody's opinion on what I should do.
Right, yeah. Did you get a pass through
And
on your arrow?
the first shot was flowed right through him.
Okay.
So there's a guy by the name of Justin Miller. Some people around here probably know him. He's like a real well-known tracker.
Okay.
And he's got a dog, that tracks him.
Mm-hmm.
And he's pretty smart on, giving you advice about where you hit deer and this and that. So I finally just called him, and I sent him all those pictures of my arrow and the video of how the deer was acting and everything. And he was like, man, he said, be honest with you. He said, he's probably laying dead right there where you watched him go in the woods. And he said, you just needed to give him more time before you. He said he would have died in the first bed if them bucks hadn't come over there and got him up.
Yeah. Because before you
bottom line, I didn't give him.
You didn't give enough time. Before you went and checked him, and you jumped him out of that bed, how long did you wait? What was that time?
I waited it was almost 45 minutes of me watching him, go down the second time.
Mm-hmm.
It was almost 45 minutes that I knew that he had not moved a muscle.
Okay, gotcha.
So, I thought he was dead.
Yeah, anybody
the way
would
he
have.
acted
Yeah.
and the way he bedded down twice like that, I just knew he was dead.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, he told me that when I called him, so I kind of had, I think you told me when I was asking you about it, probably give him 8 hours or something like that, I think.
Yeah, because I didn't know the full story of what you were saying. I just kind of looked at the pictures and your shot, and you said that you jumped him up, and I figured it's just either a single lung and liver or just a liver guts or something like that. Because I've shot one in the liver. I shot one in the liver at like 10 yards one time. He was like right in front of me, and the arrow zipped through him, and he trotted off to about like 60 yards, like yours did. And he just stood there and stared at me like nothing happened for about 5 minutes. And I was like, I know that I shot that deer,
Yeah. And judging by my arrow, the blood on the arrow, it looked like lung blood if I've ever seen it.
Yeah.
And I was pretty certain, that I knew where I seen the entrance at. Whenever he took off, I could see it plain as day.
Mm-hmm.
And even like that picture I sent you of, where I told you I thought I hit him at, it was right there.
Yeah.
So we give it till about 10:30. We went back down there.
Which is how many hours later now?
So I shot him about 4:45, right in there. So
about 5 hours.
Yeah, about 5 hours.
Okay.
And we started trying to track him. It was hard as all get out to find blood in them beans, man. I hate tracking a deer in like a dried bean field. It's horrible.
Mm-hmm.
But we got over there to where he had bedded down for the second time when he bedded, and there was absolutely blood everywhere. 5 piles of blood.
Okay.
and it all looked good. So we picked it up from there and tracked him to where he went into the woods at. And he made it about 50 yards inside the woods and was piled up.
Oh, nice. So you were pretty, I bet you were relieved, huh?
I was, man, because, I mean, once I knew I jumped him up, you know, I had it in my head. I was like, there's a chance you ain't going to find this deer.
I know. And that's the worst, man. Because that's all everybody keeps telling you is like, you jump them once, you might find them. You jump them twice, you're probably never going to find them, you know? That's what I always hear anyway, yeah. So when you found him, was he pretty stiff? Did it look like he'd been dead for a while then, or was he still kind of freshly
It's almost
dead?
like he died. It's almost like he died right then, like after I jumped him up, because he was turned around. He was turned around, like facing the way that I was tracking him.
Oh,
So
really?
it's almost like he died running, you know, and got flipped around or something.
Huh.
And he was stiff.
Yeah, so he'd been dead for a bit.
And I was like, man, I got to see where this exited at. So I don't know if you could tell in the picture, but I mean, I hit him perfect on the entrance.
Mm-hmm.
And the exit was low, like out his stomach.
Really?
But it was a lot lower and a lot further back than it should have been. So I think my arrow had to deflect off his other shoulder
Oh, okay.
when it went in him.
So you hit something inside of him and the arrow turned.
It had to, because there's no way the angle would have matched up from, you know, when I shot him.
Okay. That's interesting. I didn't see that photo. I didn't. Huh.
Yeah, it was pretty gory. I didn't take any pictures of the exit because I mean there was stuff hanging out and everything.
Pretty gross. Okay. That's interesting.
And then I seen where I hit him in the leg too.
That's interesting because I mean you can't plan for that. I for sure never think about my arrow changing direction in the body of the deer.
Yeah. I've had it happen to me, especially like them northern Missouri deer where I hunt, dude. Them things are like Terminator deer.
Yeah, big old boys.
I've had all kinds of stuff happen. And for around here, this deer was, you know, had a big body. I mean, I think he was 5-year-old at least on the low end.
Yeah, that's what at least I think.
So things can happen. I mean, I think my total arrow weight is pushing 400 grains, but I've got a short draw length. I'm pulling 70 pounds, but when you got short arms, like short draw length, man, you gotta make good shots or you're gonna lose deer.
Yeah,
I've done it. I mean,
what's your draw length?
27 and a half.
Okay. Yeah. What kind of arrows are you shooting?
I'm shooting the Victory TKOs.
Okay. So
I'm happy and I'm confident with my setup, but you know, shot placements with anything is going to be the difference maker.
So did you have any issues getting him out of there?
He was heavy. I'm glad I had two buddies there to help me because I feel like we took about 10 breaks trying to drag him.
Yeah. By the time you got out of the woods with him, what time was it? Because you said you were going back in there about 10 o'clock.
It was about 11:30, I think.
Okay, not too bad.
I know when I got home about midnight, I dragged my wife out of the bed and make her come out there and look at him. She wasn't very happy.
Yeah, she's like, okay, yeah, that deer, great. And I'm going to go back to bed.
I took him over there to my taxidermist buddy. He went with me to help me track him.
Oh, that's great.
we went over there and caked him out and hung out. I got home, got in bed about 2:30 that next morning.
Whew. Did you have to work the next day?
Oh yeah, up at 6:00.
Oh, that's rough.
But I was still running on my high, so it didn't really.
Yeah.
It didn't really affect me too much.
Yeah. Well, congratulations, man. I mean, that's a great deer. It's beautiful. It's so cool and unique looking.
I appreciate it, man. He's one of a kind for sure.
So what's next then? You got 2 deer down this season already. You're tagged out now in Tennessee then, right?
That's right.
Yeah. So what are you gonna do?
That's right. As far as Tennessee goes, I'm not gonna really. I'm gonna try to get my son, get him one killed once gun season gets here. We're gonna be gone on the cruise for the juvenile, so I'm a little disappointed about that. I thought we were gonna be back for the juvenile.
Oh, okay.
So, I'll probably focus on as far as Tennessee goes. I'll focus on trying to keep those deer alive that I'm wanting to hunt next year.
Yeah.
And just try to hunt with buddies and, maybe video for them or something, or just, try to help them any way I can.
Yeah. You gotta come up by me and try to get a bonus deer.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I plan on being back up there next weekend when this cold front gets here.
Oh, is there a cold front coming? I'm out here in Virginia for work right now, so I'm not tied in with how it is back home.
I looked there today, and it's supposed to be down in the 40s next weekend.
What? Really?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's great, because I come home on Wednesday.
Oh, you'll be hitting it perfect. You'll get to hunt probably the better part of it before it gets here.
Man, I don't know if I told you or not, but I went out on opening day, Tennessee opening day, and I shot a doe because I went to an area that was earn a buck. I don't shoot a lot of does. I just don't need that much meat because my wife doesn't eat deer, and I only eat if it's a big buck, it takes me pretty much all year to eat one probably. But I went out, and I don't know if it was just because it was the first deer of the year or like whatever, or there was so much pressure on getting a doe so that I could hunt for bucks. But I was so nervous when those does came in, man. You would have thought that it was like 160-inch buck, man. And I'll be honest with you, she came in 20 yards, and I flat out missed her on my first arrow. I shot right over her back. And I was
nervous.
I was, man. And I was like, what an idiot, dude. And I am so fortunate and lucky because she must have thought that it was a branch breaking or just something, because she did like a little 360 and then just stood there and went back to eating and just gave me another opportunity to just drill her. And I put the second one in the heart, but I mean, you would have thought that a 200-incher was standing out there in front of me.
Well, did you, I hadn't asked you, but did you see any of them 200-inchers walking around?
No, but I tell you what I did. I went out the next day and I saw, I was hunting an acorn flat, and I did have about a 120, 125 come in, real nice deer. Actually thought about shooting him, but it's so early. I just let him pass, hoping for something real special this year. But he came in hard-horned, obviously, and right in front of me made a scrape under a tree and then pissed in it right there.
Oh, hey.
Yeah. So I was like, man. And I
found a lot of scrapes up there.
Yeah, I know. I mean, I guess it's normal this time of season for them to already be making scrapes and stuff. I'm seeing them fight and stuff or spar around on my trail cameras and stuff already.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the testosterone's building. They're starting to feel it for sure.
Yeah, I've still got my eye on those 2 deer up there in Kentucky.
Oh yeah, at your buddy's place.
Yeah.
So you're gonna take a trip back up there too, you think?
Yeah, I was, and I may do it next weekend, but the one deer for sure is 100% moving at night right now. I ain't got a daylight of him in several weeks.
Okay, so one of them's pretty much nocturnal right now.
And one of them I hadn't seen in a over a week. I'm hoping nobody ain't killed him yet. But
yeah, man, it's tough because I have that lease, not by you but towards you, and I got one on there that, he's probably 130-ish, 130s, but there's something about it when it becomes that's your target deer. It's like, the size doesn't really matter that much anymore because now he's my target, But I was in Velvet. He was so consistent and just so patternable, and now I'm still getting him, but it's so infrequent, So I don't know what he's doing anymore. You know what I mean? He's got to be eating acorns in the woods somewhere that I just don't know where his feed tree is, because I did see him in a field one day on camera at like 4:30, just eating, but that's one day, out of weeks that I haven't seen him since Velvet, really. So I don't know. I'm hoping to get more pictures of him because he's kind of my priority, because he was so killable for such a long time. Because when I do get pictures of him, they are daytime pictures.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I think I'm gonna have to go out there and just throw a hunt at it and just see, because the camera is taking such a small glimpse into that area, and they miss so much, and all it takes is deer to walk behind them or something, and then you have no idea that's there,
I swear those deer yesterday, or the one I shot Tuesday or whatever, all two of those bucks walked right by my camera and it never got their picture.
I learned a valuable lesson last season is I do own like 30 acres in an area that it's like a doe factory, but I never get good bucks out there. And I've really been trying to change the habitat in like the 7 years that I've owned it to try to get some bucks to come in. And so finally I got a picture of a real nice buck at like midnight one night. And I was like, you know what? I'm just going to go out there and throw a sit at it and, see if he's out there, even though I haven't had him in the daylight or whatever. And not only did he come out, 3 other bucks came out, and about 12 does that day. And I was using, I'll just go ahead and say, I was using one of the Spy Point cameras out there.
Yeah.
Not one picture of any of those deer when I went home, because I shot the deer and I ended up being high, through no man's land up there, and he was fine. He ended up showing back up later, but so I didn't harvest that deer at all. But I went home to see if I could take a look at him and see if the shot was on there maybe or something. Not one picture that night, not one deer, and all of those deer came by my camera in my stand and stood in front of it, and it didn't take one picture of any of them. So now I take with a real grain of salt, like how many times is that happening to me on no matter what brand of camera it is, or like, if I do see a deer, a good buck or something, what is the frequency that I'm not seeing? If I see him one time a week, is it really one time a week? Or is he going there every day and just happens to walk behind the camera or do something else or just out of range of the camera or something,
Yeah, I know. I've seen some deer, and you probably seen it too, where you get a picture of them and they're like looking right at your camera.
Oh yeah. Uh-huh.
And like alert as can be, like they're looking right at it, like they hear something, or there's like a frequency in there that connects with them. I don't know. It's something.
Well, what I kind of think it is, deer vision is different than humans, and I think we always kind of equate the way that we see the world is the way that everything sees the world, which isn't necessarily true, you know. I think that even with the no glow flashes and stuff, I think that they can see the flash that it sends out at night, you know, or hear it go off or something. And especially, I think they can hear it, or the flash comes on and the light stays on for nighttime videos. Because when my cameras, when I put them on the video mode, the deer will stop what they're doing, look right at the camera, and like sometimes they'll walk right up to it when it's videotaping them, you know? I don't know if you've seen that too.
I never run video mode, or at least I don't on my Tacticam.
Yeah.
I bought some of those cheap Tasco cameras.
Yeah, I've actually heard good things about those for the price of them.
Man, for the money, you can't beat them.
Yeah.
And I'll run the video mode or whatever on those. Like I'll set up a camera. You know, I may have my cell cam there too, but I'll set another camera up like on video, like it's on a scrape or something.
Yeah, that's smart.
Just because it's cool to watch them. I just like watching them work a scrape.
Yeah. I was actually thinking about like looking into those and seeing and pricing them out and seeing how much it would be to have like not necessarily 1-to-1 for my good cameras of what I have, but like when I go and pull my cameras from all of my cameras from all of my different spots, of just leaving one of those there and then getting it when I go put my cameras out next year, you know? Yeah,
man, you definitely could.
Yeah, and then just kind of gathering that intel, and then if somebody steals it or something, then I guess, oh well, you know, it's $25-$30 or something, you know.
Well, you know, like I tried doing all this planning and everything on killing that deer.
Mm-hmm.
But you know the main reason I killed him?
Yeah, what's that?
Because I got that picture of him.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's because, it told me where he was and where he was going. And all I had to do was, you know, I had to win right. And all I had to do was just go down there and put in the time.
Yeah.
But if you think about it that way, that's...
Yeah. I think that, I don't think that cell cams kill deer. I think that cell cams in the hands of a proficient hunter do. You know what I mean? Because I think if you gave that same scenario to somebody that didn't have the experience, then I don't think the situation would turn out the same way. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I'm with you on that for sure.
Yeah. But I love them, man. I'm a big advocate of them. Hunting's supposed to be fun. And for me, like, I love the pictures. I love getting them at night. I like looking at them, you know what I mean? And it just makes me feel like I'm in the game, you know what I mean? Because I hate when I go somewhere and I don't have any intel on the area or anything, and I'm just hanging in a tree and I don't see anything. It's like, there could not be a deer 100 miles from here. I have no idea. You know what I mean? And it's like, yeah, there's a couple little rubs over there, but that could be like a 1-year-old or something, you know? And it's just like, am I wasting my time here?
Man, I questioned myself the other day whenever I come up there to hunt by you, because I'd never been in that place before. But like I heard that, you know, that was the place.
Yeah.
You know, everybody wants to be there. And so when I seen that, I told you we seen a 10-point, you know, coming out of there right in the general area where we was going to hunt at the night before. So I kind of just, you know, narrowed down a little section of the place there where I thought that deer could be living. Go in there, tried to be real cautious, you know, had the wind to her favor. And like the spot I picked, there was like 5 crossings within 50 yards of me.
Yeah.
Just wore down to the dirt. And I'm like, I'm going to see some deer right here today, you know, got to. And I didn't see nothing.
Yeah. Well, I think 2 things. I think that area gets a lot more hype because of some of the big deer that come out of there than really it deserves. Because I've done a lot of sits where I've seen absolutely nothing out there. But
Yeah.
I think another thing is just like, I don't know if it's, feed patterns, moon, weather conditions, or what, but I mean, sometimes just everywhere, deer just don't move. And I think that was just one of those days, because that was a day that, like, I think I went out and also didn't see much that day. And, I didn't have anything good on camera that evening either. It was just like everything was dead, It's days where they don't come out till the middle of the night.
We seen 2 does and a coyote the whole day. The whole day's a hunt.
Yeah.
And him killing that coyote, that was pretty cool.
Yeah. Well, that area is hard because you can't use cell cam, or you can't use any cameras or anything, and you can't really pattern them because there's so many people that hunt there, and it's just like you don't know what anybody else is going to do, and you don't know where the deer are going to go, and they have so much food and so much cover, and they have areas that there's no hunting that they can just go be safe in all they want to. So, I mean, until the rut, they don't really have to move around if they don't want to.
Yeah. I'm hoping they get some of them crops out this week.
I would think they would. I mean, it's got to be soon.
We got behind them Friday night. We got behind them. They were coming down the road there.
Oh, really?
Going off in there. So 2 big combines.
Oh yeah, they got to be done by that cold front. Then I would think that's going to be awesome if that cold front's going to be that cold. Well, all right, Lucas, I'm going to let you go, man. I really appreciate your time and telling the story and everything, man. And congratulations again. That's a hell of a deer.
Yeah, man, I appreciate it. I appreciate you letting me on here.
Yeah. I think that you sent me a picture of you and the deer. Didn't you? Or did I see that on Facebook? You can
use that one there.
Okay, cool.
If not, I'll send you one.
Okay, that sounds good, man. Well, I really appreciate it, and I'll text you later, and I'll keep up with you. Hopefully we get some more pics this week and see some big ones.
All right, man. Sounds good.
All right, take it easy, dude.
All right, you too. We'll see you.
Bye.